Hey there, sports fans. It's the professor. We're going to talk some midweek college baseball as well as the Cubs opening game Monday night against the Los Angeles Angels. Let's get into it. So let's start right there. Edward Cabrera comes out, pitches 6 1/3, looks really good, keeps only 2 runs on the board. Cubs are able to win 7-2, and overall looked really good. Of note, Happ hit his third home run in 3 games, so that's a good showing for Mr. Happ, especially at Wrigley. They did come from the right side of the plate, so still looking for him to hit for power from the left side, but all round good pitching performance, which then kind of released the pressure on some of the offense after only scoring 2 runs the day before against or 3 runs against an underwhelming Nationals team. But Cubs get the W, move to 500 on the season. One thing I did want to go through real quick is to catch up on the personnel moves with the movements to the ILs and some of the contracts that have come in. So the initial first big contract that we had spoken to before is Pico Armstrong, 6 years, $115 million. A week later, the Cubs did announce, and so it would have been right before the beginning of the season. I think it was the second game of the season. Nico Hoerner signed for 6 years, so Hoerner going to be controlled by the Cubs through 2032. I think it was also for around like 115, 120. I didn't see the exact dollar amount on that. When we look at actual rosters, though, the Cubs did finally get around to posting it. So at catcher, we have Amaya, Ballesteros, and Carson Kelly. Ballesteros has been doing a lot of the DH hitting, so I don't expect him to get a lot of time behind the plate, but that's what you see there. In the outfield, these were of note. So Conforto, who did get the start against the Angels last night, was hurt his first, and it is looking very quickly that Suzuki will be back, so we probably won't be seeing, he won't be back like this series, but back by the end of the week. So not a lot of starts left for Carson, for Dylan Carlson, Conforto, or Shaw out there. Shaw got bumped, he hadn't hit, and Conforto went in and also did not look that great. So not a lot of good options out there. But we look at the outfield, you have Dylan Carlson, Michael Conforto, Scott Kingery, actually an infielder. We look inside and outside. Suzuki placed on 10-day IL dating back to the 22nd of March. Porter Hodge, who I'm not a big fan of, but for whatever reason, the organization and council like him as a pitcher. But he was placed on 15 DL dating back 22nd March. Jordan Wicks, 15-day DL dating back 22nd March. Justin Steele, 60-day DL with no back date. Jack Neely was DFA'd. Left-handed pitchers consist of Matthew Boyd, your 1 starter, Shota, our 3 starter, Hobie Milner, and Theobar, both middle relief and setup guys. Right-handed pitchers go to Cabrera, who pitched last night, Ben Brown, who we've seen several times so far, Cade Horton, your number 2 starter, Phil Mayton, who we've seen a couple times in relief so far, Daniel Palencia, designated closer, who we unfortunately saw on Sunday but didn't need to be pitched, but he was, just to get some innings in. Talion, who we haven't seen and is probably our 5 guy. I was thinking 4, but based on Cabrera starting last night, he's our 5 guy. That leaves Jacob Webb, and that rounds out the 26-man roster. So that's where we sit right now with the in total for the Cubs roster, which is quite excellent. So hopefully we start winning some games here now that we're at 500, take this series away from the Angels, and then we move on. When we look at baseball around the state, so tonight I was not able to get down to Terre Haute, but the Sycamores host Purdue. As we've spoken to before, Purdue has a hot start going for the year and is the best D1 team in the state. But we'll move over to Indiana. Indiana takes on University of Evansville, so it's an around-the-state midweek game, midweek matchups for all 4 of the major baseball programs. Indiana is on a 5-game losing streak with an overall record of 10-17, and they are 3-9 in the conference. So, kids, I'm going to call it now. Season's over for the Indiana Hoosiers baseball team. They're not looking good, and they're in a hole that the side of a miracle happening and the season completely pulling a 180. It is Dunsville for IU. Might be some interesting games or stats or whatnot moving forth the rest of the season, so I'll keep an eye on that, bring it up as necessary. But at 6 games under in conference, 7 games under overall, in a competitive, highly heavy on the top end Big Ten conference, it's pretty much over for them. They will take on, as I said, UE tonight at Evansville. I would definitely see that being a win for IU, just based on team records, everything else going for it. But UE's been sneaky this year, and might pull a sneaky one on them and be able to get a victory down there. So we'll see. Then IU takes on Rutgers this weekend for their 3-game series, and that is going to be in town. Of course, I'm not even going to go into the deep stats or any of the data behind it, but IU gets swept against number 24 Nebraska at Nebraska this last weekend. So ranked series in conference, IU traveling team, but doesn't even come close to sniffing a win in that series, and I expect that to be the case for the remainder of the season. So let's talk ISU real quick. ISU hosting Purdue at an overall record of 12-14, so just 2 games under 500. And they are taking on, or had taken on, Valparaiso this last weekend. They end up winning the overall series 2-1, and ISU sits at 3-2 in the Missouri Valley Conference. Ty Brooks is who pitched the Saturday game for ISU, and again looked really, really good for them. So that is really interesting. And of note, with that Valparaiso series, Valparaiso did get 1 win against ISU, and that was their first win against ISU since 1972. So one of the reasons maybe we don't talk Valparaiso baseball when you only have 1 win in the last 50 years against an in-state competitor. But just of note, if anyone's curious, Valparaiso sits at 6-15 overall with an 0-4 record in conference. UE, who IU takes on this weekend, is 7-18 overall with actually a winning record in conference of 2-1. Purdue sitting at 19-8 overall, 7-5 in the conference. They take on ISU at ISU, and I'll be honest, I think this is going to be a good game. I really wanted to get down to it, but with the weather, and I just got wrapped up with what I'm just not going to be able to make it down there in time for the start. But I think it's going to end up being a good game. Highly encourage you to listen to it tonight. Purdue off to a great start, has had some ranked wins. They're looking like they're going to be able to compete in Big Ten Conference. But ISU also has had some very, very interesting wins and series wins so far. Their record kind of doesn't show it. They've lost some games they probably hoped that they could have got back, but I think it's going to be a good one down in Terre Haute. So if you can tune in, do so. And I'll close it out with Indiana softball. Indiana softball on a 2-game winning streak, won their last series. They are at 27-7 overall, so 20 games over 500 is not a bad place to be for any team in D1. And they sit at 7-2 in conference, so that's where the Lady Hoosiers sit. That's going to wrap it up for me today and the update. I will probably get back to you end of the week this week to wrap up the outcome of the Los Angeles Cubs series. Any surprises that come out of tonight with all the Indiana matchups or cross-state matchups going on, and with a preview for the Cubs this weekend. As always, go IU.